a lot of talk and a lot of complaints given to the notion that lobbyists and special interest groups are probably working the political system to their own nefarious ends. Well, I'd like to even speculate even further, and that our politicians are not actually reading the laws they're trying to pass. Take, for example, the one state where, because no one actually read the law that was passed, it eliminated, at least temporarily, the minimum age for being married. It basically legalized even infants getting married. It took a special session called by the governor to get that straightened out. Or even the Health Care Reform Act in the 90s, the Hillary plan. No one actually had read it and realized that even though it was painted as the government taking care of us and the universal health care, no mention of the personal mandate was made. And once that was revealed, some of the politicians then backed down from it because they didn't want to have their constituents cut on the hook unawares. Or consider even a more recent case. Because the spin in regards to this particular law was that there was a defense contractor that was abusing their employees under the auspices of a "you can't sue us" clause in their employment contracts, a number of politicians voted against it because, well, it targeted a defense contractor, and, well, these were big, strong defense people, without considering the reasons why and the motivation for this particular law. The law, by the way, did pass in spite of them. Or consider a lot of the rhetoric that goes on associated with the hate crimes bill, which have been tried year after year, and is finally starting to gain some ground. You have special interest groups that are exploiting the fact that politicians, and for that matter, the average individual, doesn't read the laws. They would make claims that the hate crimes bill would criminalize certain thoughts, the old thought crime issue, and that certain religious practices and religious speech would be banned by this law. If they had actually read the law, they would find that it explicitly, and in no uncertain terms, says this will not affect religious speech as covered by the First Amendment. It's always in that law, explicitly written out. But because politicians don't read the laws, and most of the average people on the street basically believe what they're told, the spinmeisters and the focus groups and all those other individuals who may actually be writing the laws for their own reasons of getting them passed, they can put whatever spin on it and bamboozle people into believing it or shooting it down. Maybe if we actually required that laws be written in such a way that the politicians, one, are able to read them, or for that matter, how about common law and plain language things for the common people, so that we know what laws are being passed. Of course, there would be a downside of this. If we actually understood the laws, we might, one, not make as many of them, and two, we may not need the need of lawyers, because, well, if we understood the law, we would need lawyers. Now, that would just tick off another special interest group. Yeah, we can't hurt them, can we? Considering how many of our politicians are lawyers.